All right. All right, Periscope. How are you this morning? I trust that all is well with all of you that are joining us. I want to welcome you to the Entrepreneurs Boardroom. The Entrepreneurs Boardroom is the place where small business owners and entrepreneurs come together, and it's a place where we share information about how to be successful in entrepreneurship and small business ownership. I began last week talking about the developing the mentality or developing the mindset of an entrepreneur because there are many people that have a desire to be an entrepreneur. Matter of fact, the statistics say that more than 70% of America desires to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. But the reality is, unfortunately, less than 10% of all America are actually take the necessary step to become an entrepreneur. Just as a quick review, when we talk about the characteristics or the traits of an entrepreneur, one of the things we said is that an entrepreneur must be a person of confidence. You must have confidence in yourself. You must believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. The second one is that you have to have a consistent desire to achieve. As an entrepreneur, it's my desire to achieve, it's my desire to win. The next one is that you must have a strong work ethic. Many people, I said on Facebook and on Twitter last week, I said many people want to win, but we don't put in the necessary works to actually win. You gotta do more than just want it. You have to put in the corresponding work ethic that is necessary to get it. Because if you don't, one of the things you never will do, you'll always want it, but you'll never have it. Hey, how you doing all the way from Ireland? Welcome. And so the third thing is hard work. The next one is that you must have a nurturing quality. You must be willing to take charge and watch over a venture until that venture is able to stand alone. So you can't just start today, get tired of it, and leave it tomorrow. You must have a nurturing quality in order to be successful in entrepreneurship. Another trait is that you ought to be responsible, be able to accept responsibility. You must be morally and legally and mentally accountable for what it is you say you want to do. Another character trait is that you should be optimistic. I'm telling you, you guys, in my 20 plus years of entrepreneurship, one of the things that I've learned is that a pessimistic attitude is not going to work when you want to be an entrepreneur. You have to be optimistic. You always must be willing to find the silver lining in the dark cloud because there will be dark clouds, but you must be willing to look for that silver lining. The next trait is that you must have an orientation for excellence. You must have a desire to be excellent. You must be willing to under-promise and overachieve as opposed to underachieve and overpromise. Because people are going to judge you. Your first impression for many people is your last impression. So you want to make certain that your first impression is the best impression possible. You want to provide 6-star customer service. In order to be successful in small business ownership and entrepreneurship, you must be willing to provide 6-star customer service. There must always be follow-up. There must always be follow-through in what it is you say you're going to do. If not, you lose consumer trust and they're going to go after your competitor. If you're in agreement with me, just let me know you're in agreement. Another piece is you must be organized. Listen, you cannot be unorganized in entrepreneurship. There must be a systematic flow because wealth flows through order. Wealth flows through order. Excellence flows through order. And so if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, you must have strong organizational skills. You must be able to bring together all of the necessary components, vendors, people, resources, all of the things that are necessary in order to make certain that your business prospers. The next one is that you must be profit oriented. Listen, you guys, when I go into business, I'm in business for three reasons. Number one, I'm in business to make money. Bottom line, when I engage in a business activity, I am not going into that business to lose. I'm going in to make money. I'm going in to do business. And even those of us that are Christians that are watching, you cannot be afraid to have an intent to make money. The second reason I go into business is to give back. Does that make sense? So number one, make money, but two, give back. Because the more I give, the more I'm going to receive. As an entrepreneur and as a small business owner, you cannot be selfish. You must be willing to give, because the more you give, the more you're going to receive. So number one, make money. Number two, give back. And number three, to have freedom. I am an entrepreneur to have freedom. And the freedom that I like to have is the freedom to be able to live the kind of life that I desire to live without the consideration of profit. Without the consideration of cost. Let me say that again. The freedom that I desire to have as an entrepreneur is to live the kind of life that I desire to live without the consideration of cost. That's freedom. I want freedom to be able to pick my children up from school every day. I want freedom to be able to go on every field trip. I want freedom to make certain I attend every dance recital. I want freedom to make certain I'm able to go to every basketball game. I want freedom to go to every tennis match. Y'all see what I'm saying? So entrepreneurship, you must have a desire to have freedom. Understanding, though, that freedom comes with a great sacrifice. It comes with a great sacrifice of your time. For example, my business hours is 24 hours. They say, what's your business hours? I'm open for business whenever there's an opportunity to do business. So that means at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm on a Skype call with someone that's in Australia taking care of business. Or I'm on a call with someone in Thailand taking care of business. Because that affords me the opportunity to live the kind of life that I want to live. Yeah, I understand. And you can live that life. You can have it, but you cannot have it without a strong work ethic. If this is helpful for you today, I want you to swipe right and invite some followers, and swipe right and invite some followers. If it's helpful also, why don't you just go ahead and let me know that this is being helpful to you. Now, let's begin to talk about an entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? There's many definitions of an entrepreneur. But one of the things I would say is that an entrepreneur is one that undertakes and operates a new venture, one that assumes some accountability also for the risk. Listen, you guys, there will be no reward if you're not willing to take the risk. If you want to become a successful entrepreneur, then you must become a risk taker. And for some of us, we call risk faith. And so if you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur, you must be willing to take the risk. Not only must you be willing to take the risk, you must be an organizer. We talked about that earlier. You must be able to organize. You must be able to bring things together. Also, as an entrepreneur, you must be an innovator. Steve Jobs was an innovator. Bill Gates was an innovator. The list goes on and on. Henry Ford was an innovator. You must become an innovator. What is it that you have as a product or a service that is uniquely different, that will set you apart in the marketplace where you can make some money. The best way to innovate is to become a problem solver. As an entrepreneur, we must learn how to become problem solvers. We must find problems and then get ourselves into and become the solution for that problem. That is the way that you're going to be successful in entrepreneurship, and you're going to carve out a spot in the marketplace for you to be able to be successful. Entrepreneurs must also be great leaders. You have to be a great leader because you're not going to be able to build by yourself. You must have people that are connected with you, that's willing to help you. And you must be able to lead them by sharing vision. And not only sharing vision, but motivate them to buy into that vision, to join you, to help you, to cause that vision to come to pass. The next thing, when you look at it as an entrepreneur, you must understand that success is not going to happen overnight. Success is not going to happen overnight. You must understand that the only thing that's guaranteed in business is expenses. That's the only thing. The only thing that's guaranteed in business is expenses. I wonder if I got any entrepreneurs that are listening that will agree to that. It's not guaranteed when you go into business that you're going to necessarily make money. But it is guaranteed that when you go into business, you're going to incur some expenses. And that's why you must be willing to invest. You must be willing to take the risk if you're ever going to be able to receive a reward. You must make the investment. You must make the investment. There's a cycle of entrepreneurship. The first cycle is that when you take the risk, that's also a leap of faith. The first cycle is to start. And then once you start the business, you go through this thing, you go through this fear. And this fear, and we're talking about the cycle of an entrepreneur, this fear comes in whether or not, well, you begin to question, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Are people going to support the business? Are they not going to support the business? And the truth of the matter is, you guys, the very people that you think are going to be the ones to support you may be the ones that you will get the least amount of support from. So you're going to have to be willing to accept that. I don't know if any of you that are on the line this morning, that are on Periscope, if you've experienced that where you started a business and you thought your friends, your family, everybody was going to come and support, and those were the ones that seemed to move slow. Those were the ones that seemed to support the least. And so the reality of the situation is you got to be willing to go through that. Every entrepreneur goes through a cycle of failure. Every entrepreneur goes through a cycle of failure. Let me tell you something about failure. Failure is not who you are. It's something that happens. Failure is not who you are. It's something that happens. And I want you to know that you are not a failure. Failure is nothing more than a life lesson that says, oops, that didn't work. Are you understanding? Then, in this cycle, you must learn how to be faithful. Failure teaches you how to be faithful to what it is you believe that you're called to do in entrepreneurship and small business ownership. A faithful man is richly blessed, but he that makes haste to be rich will not be innocent. What does that mean? That means that if you're trying to get rich quick, if your goal is just to try to be rich quick, the truth of the matter is you may compromise the integrity of who you are for the sake of getting something that you really didn't work for. So you got to be faithful. You must be willing to put in the work. And the last cycle of an entrepreneur is that you must finish. You must finish. Finish what you start. Finish what you start. Finish what you start. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't wave the white flag. Some of us, we quit too soon. Just when we were on the verge of our breakthrough, we gave up. I'm reminded of that tree that one will plant. And when they plant the tree, they water the tree, they cultivate the tree for 5 years, and they see nothing. But in that 5 years, in that 5th year, all of a sudden that tree begins to blossom. Don't quit before your 5th year. Keep pushing, and you will become successful. Listen, today, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us in the Entrepreneurs Boardroom. This is part 2 of developing the mentality of an entrepreneur. We're going to begin to look at, tomorrow we're going to talk about, are you a self-starter? And if you're a self-starter, what it's going to take and actually to be successful in entrepreneurship. Thank you so much. Until next time, prosper.